Okay, is this thing live? Should be connected. Let me check. All right, bet we're live. We are live. We are. Let's see here if we can log in. All right, no, we're fine. All right, get rid of that, and that. All right, bet we're live. We are live. We are. See if we can get this audio going. We're not going to do that. All right.
Texas multiple times and reaches the swell so nice. Shady Sam kicks back, loving the price. We with bankroll Shady Sam's track to the Cherokee Casino. See suspect, 50 grand of taxpayer funded fun. Shady Sam Page looking out for number one.
All right, man. Let's get it. Let's get this live going. This is gonna be a work in progress. This is my first ever live stream that I will be, doing on YouTube here on the Between the Lines channel, and this is just gonna be some play-by-play commentary, man. We're gonna be doing, just some practice, some experience. It's something that I want to do, moving forward with my life, and I'm really excited to do this, man. But I just want, for whoever will be watching, whoever will tune in. I hope they have a good time, and this is something that I've always wanted to do. So yeah, man, let's get it. And I'll keep y'all updated with the score in chat and whatnot. So I'm using like this new thing or whatever. OBS. I've never heard of it until now, but
Now available on YouTube. Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
so yeah, man. Coming into this game, you got the Atlanta Falcons 3-6. They're third in the NFC South. You know, this is a game where, for them coming in, there's this a must-win game for them. They want to avenge their 30-0 loss against Carolina in Week 3. That was, you know, a game where a lot of people felt like, you know, is Atlanta this bad, or is Atlanta, you know, can they be a team that a lot of people have, you know, had some hopes for with all the talent around them. So I think, you know, this game will not be easy for Carolina. I think Carolina needs to really get going. They cannot come out flat like they did last week against New Orleans, in which they only scored 7 points. But the defense, I mean, last week only holding New Orleans to 10 points around the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter. But at that point, I mean, Carolina, I mean, their defense held up as long as they can. But here we go. Atlanta will receive the ball to start the game. So that means Carolina will get the ball at the second half, start of the second half. In Carolina, a couple games behind Tampa in the NFC South. They're trying to get to that first place mark in a place where they haven't really been in a while. It's been a long time for that, since 2021, when they were first place in the division, back when they were 3-0. And then here we go, San Gonzalez. All right, here's Atlanta getting the ball up to around the 32-yard line with a tackle made. And here comes Michael Penix Jr. Penix Jr. with 1,807 passing yards with a 58.8% completion rate. Thrown 9 touchdowns with 3 interceptions on the year. He did have an interception against Carolina back in Week 3. They were looking for Bijan Robinson on check down. Shaw Smith-Wade came up with an interception. But here we go. First down. Falcons going a pistol look. 2 tight end set. And here is a pistol handoff to Bijan Robinson. Bijan slowly goes and finds a little hole. But there's a flag on the play, most likely going to be holding here. Oh, never mind. What was that? Yeah, it's holding. Holding on the right tackle, Elijah Wilkinson. 1st and 20 for the Atlanta Falcons. Again, go back to the pistol set. Motion call pistol a little bit. Here's another handoff to Bijan Robinson. Stutter steps, goes and finds a hole, and he's going to get around 4 yards on the carry. And it will be second down. And I mentioned it on the TikTok earlier, the keys to the game for Carolina, in order to win this game, you have to start out fast. You have to start aggressive. Dave Canales tends to not be as an aggressive coach as many would like for him to be. And that's been a problem. It was a problem last week. It's been a problem so far throughout his coaching career with Carolina. So that's something we need to start. Defense, if they can play like they did last week, I think things will be fine for them this game. But Atlanta's going to want to come out fast. Here's Penix on drop back, looking to throw. He finds Darnell Mooney and what looks like to be a catch and fumble. But Atlanta recovers. Not sure yet if it was a catch and fumble or if it was just an incomplete pass. Does he make a football move here? I think he does. They wrote it 3rd and 14. 3rd down long right here for Carolina. Penix on a drop back, steps in the pocket, looks to evade pressure. Nick Scorton could not get to him. Here's Penix on a rollout, finds what looks like to be Darnell Mooney, but he's outside on the right sideline. Carolina forces a 3-and-out. Really impressive first defensive start for Carolina. Obviously, the holding penalty helped him there to get him into a long situation, kind of got him out of a rhythm for the first drive of the game for Atlanta. But it's what you like to see if you're a Carolina fan. Get off the field early. Don't want to have Atlanta get these long drives, especially when they have so many dynamic weapons on offense. But here's a punt going the other way to Trevor Etienne, who gets it around the 19-yard line. He goes back around, and then he's smothered with Atlanta Falcon defenders all over him. And now we are going to go see Bryce Young. Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick in the 2022 draft. On the year, against Atlanta, he's thrown for 685 yards with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Played very well in the previous meeting. But last week did struggle. See what Carolina opens up here with. They go in the pistol formation as well. And here's a handoff to Rico Dowdle out of the pistol set. And Rico Dowdle is going to find his way for about a 6-yard gain. And last week, you wanted to start strong, with the momentum that they had coming off of a big win against Green Bay. And then you just come into at home, the place was packing, rocking, and you just come out flat. And the offense doesn't really do a whole lot. And that kind of, derails the team a little bit. But, hopefully with what Carolina's trying to do here as Bryce Young drops back to throw, hits Mitchell Evans on what it seems like a 2-yard flat, and tackled by Ellis of the Atlanta Falcons, Caden Ellis. And here is an early 3rd down for Carolina. Third and 3 here. Motion out Jatavion Sanders. Bryce Young drops back again, so throw. He finds Jalen Coker down the middle of the field. What a catch by Jalen Coker. Uses all of his hands right there. Coker's lined up in the slot. He's just going to run a dig. And he just uses hands right there. Nobody or nothing. That was a full extension of the catch. Great catch for Jalen Coker. So far, Bryce Young 2 for 2, passing 17 yards. Here's JT Sanders on a motion. First down and 10 at the 50-yard line. And that's something that Carolina also has to do to get Jalen Coker involved more. And here's another handoff to Rico Dowdle, who's only going to get maybe a yard. Second down and 9. Tackled by Rookie Aurora. Could be butchering that name. Carolina, not the best in 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations, but here they are on 2nd and 9. Goes empty set. Rico Dowdle split left. Only a 3-man pressure. Bryce Young looks to fake. Ball looked to be batted, or Bryce Young's hand looked to be kind of tipped. The ball falling completely short. 3rd and 9. It looked like they were trying to set up a pump and go out of the empty set. Atlanta only sending 3 right there, and it looks like one of the edge defenders had a hand on that. This season, Carolina 37% on 3rd down, 22nd in the league. And here we go again, Carolina bunch, empty formation to the left side. And Bryce Young just looks to get the ball out quickly to Jatavion Sanders. He's going to be a yard short of the first down marker. Do they go for it here? I think they do. They're quickly going to go into a huddle. And it looks like they're going to be going for it here. And if you're Dave Canales, this is what you want. This is what you have to do. 4th and 2. This is what you have to do. You're going to want to be aggressive, keep the offense out there. And you can't be, you can't call play simple and whatnot. Carolina on the year 15 for 22 on 4th down. So we'll see what they do here. Here's Coker in motion to the left side. Young, play action, rolls to his left, hitting Xavier Leggett, who keeps his feet going, and he's tackled down. And the Panthers do convert on 4th down. What a play call by Dave Canales. Now, that's what you want to see out of Dave Canales. That's what you want to see. Get Bryce out rolling out of the pocket, and just let him dice up the defense. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Here's just a play action. You're going to roll to your left, and then you're going to hit Xavier Leggett, who actually he hits him as the defender almost gets to the ball. And that was a really great throw by Bryce Young so far, 4 for 5 for 46 yards. And Xavier Leggett already has more targets. No, he has the same amount of targets that he did last week, which only had 1 target for no catches. Here's a quick check down to Rico Dowdle. It's going to get 2 yards on the carry on the play. Yeah, like I was saying, Xavier Leggett, a guy who only had 1 target for no catches, no yards last week against New Orleans. Now he has 1 catch on the game and a critical 4th down conversion. Here's Carolina again in the pistol formation. 3 receivers to the right side. Tremble motioning in. Here's another handoff to Rico Dowdle, and it looks like he's going to get about 4 yards on the carry. And another 3rd down here. Carolina ranked 27th in the NFL in total offense, around 297 yards per game. And here's a 3rd and 4. Young talking to the O-lineman, pre-snap, 3 receivers to the left. Here's a drop back from Young, a little feed in, and that hits Teteroa McMillan, who gets to around the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Carolina. And so far what I'm seeing, Young feels confident. He feels poised. He's hitting the right reads. He's not doing too much. And that's just what he always it always tends to feel that way when he plays Atlanta. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing you want to see out of a quarterback like Bryce Young. Obviously seeing him struggle last week, so it's good to see him doing this right now. Here's Coker to the motion of the right. Play action. Young steps up, and he's going to be sacked by James. No, that is not James. And that's James Pierce Jr. working on Iquanu. Yep. The rookie out of Tennessee. Atlanta's 1st-round draft selection this year. Now it's going to set up a long 2nd and goal here for Carolina. James Pierce looked like he jumped off this. Maybe a free play here. Bryce Young's going to just take it and go inside the 10-yard line. So you get a sack on 1 play, and then you go to offsides on the next. So can't do that if you're James Pierce, especially as you're a rookie. But, free play for Carolina there. I don't think there's anything there for Bryce Young in terms of taking anything to the end zone, but James Pierce is going to go out of the game here. 2nd and 7, 2nd and goal here for Carolina. Jimmy Horn Jr. in motion here in a pistol formation again. Bryce Young looks to throw, and he's going to find Teteroa McMillan for the touchdown. McMillan reaches the goal line, and he is in for the touchdown. Carolina leads 6-0. Beautiful executed drive for Carolina on the first drive of the game. Everything just felt so smooth, so, organized. And that's what you want to see if you're Carolina. That's the type of drive that you want to have in order to get Bryce Young's confidence going, in order to get him going throughout this game. A little floppy on the ball there, trying to get the ball in his hands, but nonetheless, got an opening drive touchdown for Carolina Panthers. Here's the PAT, and that is good. Carolina leads 7-0 with 5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first quarter. And that's just a drive that you want to see right there. Bryce Young to Tet. Tet's third touchdown of the year. 7-0 Carolina. Now that's what you want to see right there.
When things heat up, you don't just want to you want the cold lager, cold filter, cold package, now cold refreshment, cooler light, chicken boy. You won't remember today. This is the last one you'll see at the top. I won't care. I thought today, this is what I can. But not today. I want to carry on. This is the last time I won't remember my name. Proud partner of USA. Once Mindy heard about Walmart's Black Friday deals, she called on it red.
God, that's what we want to see right there. For those tuning in, welcome to the stream. This is my first ever stream. So it's going to be a work in progress. It's going to be something that I'm going to try to be doing regularly for away games, as me and Michael, the people who run, Between the Lines on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, we typically do go to the home games, as Michael's a season ticket holder. So we won't be live for the home games. We'll be live for the away games. So, I'm very excited to be doing this, something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to be able to do it, and just, practice the skills, practice, the opportunity, and just, do this while watching football and, chatting up with whoever may be watching. So, I think whoever who's watching. So thank you. I see we have 3 viewers. That was a 12th play, 73-yard scoring drive for Carolina. Bryce Young went 7 for 8, 67 yards right there. And here is the kickoff. Fitzgerald boots it to around the 1-yard line. Here's the Atlanta Falcons return. And, big tackle there by Princely, the rookie. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I cannot do it. Shout out to his brother, though, who follows us on Twitter. All right, this is Atlanta's second drive of the game. 5:19 in the first, down 7. They really weren't able to do a whole lot last drive because of the holding penalty that caused them to go long. So here's Atlanta again in the pistol formation. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a run right here. It's a play action. Bijan slips. Penix looks to throw. He has Drake London way downfield. Off the play action, finding Drake London, and London uses all of that height to go get that ball. Yeah, it looks like London tried to run a shake post right there, where it looks like he's going for a corner route. Then he goes back to the middle of the field, and again they're in a pistol. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. Here's a handoff to Bijan Robinson, who's not going to get anywhere. Tackled at the line of scrimmage, and a whole lot of white and blue surrounded Bijan right there. And that's what you want to do if you're Carolina. Eliminate Bijan Robinson. If you can eliminate Bijan Robinson, I think you're going to have a great chance to win this game. Bijan Robinson, 60% of scrimmage yards combined between him and London. So obviously they're a big factor into what Atlanta wants to do on offense. London on the year, 54 catches, over 700 yards receiving. Here's Penix on the drop back, looks to the middle of the field, and he's going to have Drake London wide open. Merrick, the only man down to defend him, and he's going to be tackled around the 4-yard line. First and goal for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what happened there with the defense. I don't know if it was miscommunication. I got to see the replay on that. But this has been the Drake London drive so far. 2 huge chunk plays for Drake London, and yeah, no one's in the middle of the field guarding. I guess one of the Panthers defenders wanted to pass him down. Hopefully someone would pick him up. That wasn't the case. Here's Penix. Again, pistol formation to Bijan Robinson. And Bijan Robinson not going to get anywhere. Oh, he escapes tackles. Oh, my gosh. Bijan Robinson just escaped 2 defenders right there at the line of scrimmage and went in for a touchdown. Wow. There's a flag on the play. And it's going to be still ruled a touchdown against Carolina. Wow. Bijan Robinson was left for dead at the line of scrimmage, and then 3 people was on him, and then he still got the touchdown. He was tackled right there. Mike Jackson on him. Boom, right there. That's crazy. He said he always seems to have these OMG moments against the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you can remember, but his rookie year, I think it was his first touchdown. He got it off a check down, and then he just juked like 2 people back to back for a touchdown. But I think this play was even better because this is crazy. Escaping 3 Panther defenders, going in for the touchdown. Whew. All right. It's going to be one of those type of games, isn't it? Carolina couldn't do much on defense there. 7-7, 3 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter. I mean, I can't even hate. That was like actually, I don't know. 3 Panther defenders could not get Bijan Robinson down right there. I don't know. That either poor tackling or just what? I don't know. But I mean, Bijan Robinson is Bijan Robinson. He seems to always have success against Carolina, so I can't really say I'm too surprised. I mean, Bijan Robinson now has 5 touchdowns on the year, 2 receiving, 3 rushing, for around almost 700 yards rushing. And then I told people this is not going to be an easy game. I think Atlanta, they want to come out and they want to beat Carolina in hopes of, scorching their playoff hopes. And Carolina wants to go to 6-5. We want to continue to, be in the playoff hunt, towards the late part of the year. So, and Atlanta does have key wins at home, they have key win. I should say, as they beaten the Bills. Obviously, everyone knows it's a powerhouse in the NFL. They're 2-2 at home. Bills Commanders. with the Commanders losing to Miami this morning in Madrid. Mariota throwing a game-losing interception, which gave the Miami Dolphins great field position to go ahead and kick the game-winning field goal. And here's the kickoff now, which was in the touchback. So, Carolina goes back out for their second drive of the game. Beautiful first drive. Bryce Young was efficient, hitting the correct reads, and that's what you want to see out of him. So, hopefully, he can continue that. Last time Bryce Young was in this building, he had like 5 total touchdowns and a win. Here's Bryce Young on a play action. Pretty good pocket. He's going to find Tedero McMillan on a comeback. First down, moving the chains. Pretty nice. And if Carolina can win this game, they improve to 6-5 with a Monday Night Football game next week against San Francisco. 2 people in the backfield, Trevor Etienne. This is going to be a rush until it's behind the quarterback. Pick up maybe 2 yards. Second down. 2nd and 9 here. And me and Michael talked about it on the podcast. Dave Canales, we want to see more aggressiveness out of him. We don't want to see the simple, vanilla playbook that he likes to run. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Here's Ligia on the motion. Hand off to Rico Dowdle, who's going to get around 3 yards on the carry. 3rd down coming up. Just hitting the 2-minute mark, 7-7. Rico Dowdle's had a very impressive year. He's 3rd in the NFL in terms of rushing, just over 800 yards. And he's only had just a multiple, handful of starts. Really came into his own when Carolina started to get going early in the year. Here's Bryce Young on a drop back, 3rd and 6, and he's going to come in and just get sacked by this Atlanta defense. Bowman Jr., the rookie, who just comes in off a blitz. And Bryce Young didn't even see it. And he is hurt. He's down on the field. Bryce Young is down on the field injured. Bowman just goes untouched. And he hits Bryce Young for the sack. Really not sure what happened to Bryce here. We'll see what happens here.
I get it. It's hard to change. Me, I'm pretty loyal. I've been on the same team for 17 years. Same coach for 11.
Well, Andy Dalton is the backup.
I start everyone over the past the same guy. Look, Kurt, I shoot from the same spot every time. So you can imagine how good something has to be for me to change. Can't beat it with the big bad dough. Come on. Don't make it look easy. Don't make it look good.
I'm trying to find some more information right now.
Hunting for holiday deals. We both have a lot of specific wish lists. That's why it has been door by every Friday. Yes, door messages every Friday. All people at Best Buy. It's time Your grandpa wears one of these.
Well, that's obviously not what you want to see if you're an NFL fan. You never want to see someone injured. Bryce Young going down. I really can't clarify what the injury is. It didn't look bad. I just thought it was a regular sack. That's Atlanta's second sack of the game. Okay, reporting by Sheena Quick. Young is able to walk off the field and under his own power. So that's a good sign. So it looks like he's going off. He's walking to the locker room.
Yeah, it looks like the right guard here, Sabala, is looking down inside. Everything else is picked up. Don't get checked to pick that up.
Here's Sam Martin on the punt, which almost gets blocked. Over. No! Went through the hands of Atlanta's punt returner. Agnew, number 14. So Atlanta's going to get the ball, I think, like around the 5, just depending on where the ball landed. Yep, it did, in fact, touch him. So it's going to go out to where the ball went. Around the 5. Agnew. Ball at their own 5. First and 10 for Atlanta. 59 seconds left in the first quarter. And Atlanta again in the pistol. They love this formation, don't they? Two tight ends in motion. Here's Bijan on a handoff. Quick stutter step. Quick 5-yard gain. I think Bijan's so dynamic. I hate that we play him twice a year. London motions out to the outside. Again in the pistol. 2nd and 5. Get another handoff to Bijan. Quick touch up to the outside, and now he's gone. Bijan with just a burst of speed goes to the outside. I mean, Bijan had nothing going there in that pile, and then he just goes to the outside with like a speed of light, and he picks up the first down. That's the end of the first quarter. Tied 7-7. On to the second, as Bijan picked up the first down to end the quarter.
Shows in the children who show up every day with heart, hope, and courage. And to the doctors and researchers who give everything they've got. But we need you too on Team St. Jude. So donate today.
We'll try to get some more updates on Bryce Young.
Everyone gearing up for the holidays. The best friend. And the first timer. The neighborhood hero. And the out-of-towners. And it all comes together in Chevrolet.
Now, well-qualified buyers can get 0% financing on this 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 with over $9,000 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
This year, what if you could give someone a moment to dream? Or send them to a faraway place you've always wanted to go? Or feel the joy of something you've never imagined? And what if you could do all that with a single gift? Give the gift of What If with Holiday Scratch-Offs.
I want to know how serious it is. I want answers to all my questions. I want them to use ways to help me. I want a cardiologist who's done this 1,000 times. I want all my kids not to worry. I want to go home sooner than I'm ready. I want to be right for every day.
For nationally recognized heart care, Q1 Lozano, Robot Health, best physicians, amazing nurses, remarkable care.
Football is everything.
What about the UFC?
But nothing is guaranteed. Drive ball.
Ooh. Ugh.
So not only is this a difficult game, it's going to be
All right, we're back. 7-7, start of the second quarter. A little weird formation here. Bijan now, motion to the pistol, another handoff to him. Oh my gosh. Dude, Bijan is crazy. He just has he stops and he just goes. Like, it feels like there's nothing there, and then boom, he's right there. He just gets 7-8 yards. Because you have the pistol going to the right, and then boom, he just stops, and then boom, he just goes. That's crazy. 2nd and 3 for Atlanta. Here's Bijan on another handoff, and he's going to pick up the first down. Here's London on motion, play action for Penix. He's going to look, finds Darnell Movie, hits him at around the 38-yard line. Atlanta is threatening. And it's just something to exploit these zones. Like, they're motioning almost every play. And Moody just finds a hole in the zone, picks up the first down. Penix 4 for 5 for 93 yards so far. Here's Bijan again in the pistol. This time it's to the left, stutter steps, and then Roosevelt's going to tackle him over there. Picks up around a 4-yard gain. Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator, loves to use his weapons in a variety of ways. But Bijan Robinson is the man that you have to watch if you're on defense at all times. He's a workhorse for them. Here's a quick pass over to Drake London. Short of the sticks, but it's going to be 3rd and 1 coming up. Penix getting the ball out quickly there. Something that he didn't really do a whole lot in the previous meeting. He kind of held on to it for a little bit too long. Got some sacks. And then also forced some error throws. But this is a pistol offense that Atlanta runs. This is a pistol offense. They run it more than anyone in the league, I believe. But here's a 3rd and 1 coming up. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. And here's Bijan again. What else to do? And this time, Carolina stops him for a loss of 1, but there is a flag. There is a flag there. Trying to see who it's on. Holding on defense. And Carolina gives Atlanta a fresh new chain of downs. See, that's something that you can do. You force a 4th down behind the sticks, and then You bail them out by giving them a holding penalty, and now they get a fresh new set of downs. Here's a little swing over to Bijan. Around 4 Panther players on him. Gonna get a 4 or 5. And this is where Carolina really was good last week. Kind of close to the red zone. Had a bend don't break mentality last week, not allowing New Orleans to get anything in the red zone. Only allowed a field goal and then obviously a touchdown. That was towards the end of the game. Here again, pistol formation. This time Bijan's not in the game. Here's a motion to the left and pistol handoff to Tyler Algier, and he's gonna just bury through people and picks up a first down, though there is a flag on the play. Two fouls on the play, both by the offense. So this one will be going back. Okay, so reporting Joe Pearson. It's the same ankle that Bryce Young injured versus the Jets in Week 7, which he missed a week. With a high ankle sprain. So does that mean that he's ruled out for this game? Don't know. Here's a 2nd and 14 for Atlanta. Play action. A little pressure there, but a little dump off to Tyler Algier, who tries to make a man miss. You got 4 Panther players again on the ball. Going to be a gain of 4, 3rd down and long here. I mean, at least Carolina's getting to the ball. I mean, there's a bunch of Carolina hats surrounding the ball. That's what you kind of want to see there. Tyler Algier is kind of like their power back, but he's really shifty as well. He was the guy before they had Bijan. But I mean, now that they have both, I mean, it's kind of like a two-headed monster in a way. So, Javon Merrick was there on the stop first. Here's a 3rd and long. Penix looking to fire. He hits Darnell Mooney, and he hits it right in the spot where only he can get it. Fit it right through the needle. Yep. In between 3 Panther defenders. He just iced it right there. And it looks like you can make a case that was helmet to helmet. And that could have been a flag added onto it, but they don't throw it there. Here's Atlanta threatening in the red zone around the 13-yard line. 1st and 10. Again in the pistol. Coppice motioning to the right. Drop back, and here's just a simple setup to Bijan, who he just wants to get the ball in space, and he's going to get a first down, and he's going to be tackled down at the 1. Man. Maybe at the 2. 1.5. Another setup to Bijan here. He's not going to get anything. 2nd and down. Penix playing very solid right now. Eight, only one incompletion. Here's another handoff to Bijan. This time he tries to go to the outside, and he's just going to walk in. No, not tackled at all. Just hits a couple of Carolina defenders and just walks in. So Atlanta with another score on the board. Bijan now with 2 touchdowns on the game. Like, that's just what Bijan Robinson is so good at. And I'm very upset, but it's also very, like, cool because not a lot of running backs have that ability. He just finds that stutter step. He finds that hole when there's nothing there. Because right there, he went to the left, nothing was there. Then he just stutter steps, and then goes back, cuts in. And we have a Carolina injured player on the field. Looks like Nick Scorton, the rookie, who's had a tremendous year so far. But yeah, man. So reporting by Joe Pearson, Bryce Young is questionable to return with an ankle injury.
I checked Allstate first, saved hundreds on my car insurance. Unfortunately, I didn't check to see if anyone was watching before I stole cotton candy from a child. Checking Allstate first was really smart. Not checking the Jumbotron, not smart. Well, at least I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds. Was it worth it? Yeah. Any questions?
How did you become Capital One Bank guy?
I've always been passionate about no fees and minimum contract accounts. Which old name? Live in space. What's in your one?
Tired of safety jobs until you feel like one fit. Introducing Indeed Career Scout. Find a job that's right for you.
Here's to the stuff that never stopped. To the flavor that found its way into everything. From just one spot. America's #1 spot. This isn't just a meal. It's a ride. Wingstop.
So sit to work on a Sunday.
Does it though? How about dogs?
Okay.
Never on Peyton Manning. Hi. It's quickly time.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Ohio State takes on Rutgers. It's big news Saturday on Fox. Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Drink to fly, decide to fly. Richard Party with Nick Scorton, a tremendous rookie out of Texas A&M, the sack leader and a tie at the top of the Panthers stat sheet.
Hey, we got some subscribers on the channel. Who subscribed? All right, let me let me do this here. Let me delete that. All right. Andy Dalton's going to be coming into the game when we get the ball here after this extra point. Zane Gonzalez, the former Carolina Panther. Atlanta's had a kicking carousel so far this year. They've had a number amount of kickers. They had Younghoe Koo, got rid of him. Then they got Parker Romo. He didn't play well. And now they have Zane Gonzalez, who they just picked up last week. So hopefully he can be that kind of guy that will help Atlanta in the kicking game. Yeah, former Panther. He nailed the extra point. Now it's a 14-7 game with Carolina about to take the field with Andy Dalton, who last time we saw Andy Dalton, he played abysmal against Buffalo. And, I mean, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're kind of like no, this cannot be happening. But I mean, in my eyes, I gotta see like, okay, now what? Now what happens? It's kind of just like, what do we get? What Andy Dalton are we gonna get right now? Are we gonna get the same one that we saw against Buffalo, where we couldn't move the ball downfield, where we couldn't do anything? But Bryce Young is back on the sidelines though. He wants to get in, so I think Bryce Young's gonna be in the game. Let's see what happens here. Yep, Bryce Young's going to be coming back into the game. They're all pointing that Andy Dalton was going to come in this game, but Bryce Young looked to the Dave Canales, said he wanted to be in this game. So now he's back. All right. First down and 10. Panthers down 7 with 7:52 in the second quarter. Bryce Young under center. Did another handoff to Rico Dowdle. Rico's going to get around 3 yards on the carry. Flag on the play. Probably going to be holding. Yep. Chandler Zavala, the right guard. Yeah, I'd say let's hold him. 1st and 20. Now what you want to see off of the first play of the drive, you're down 7, want to get something going here. I mean, this is when the receivers need to step up here. Like, we need to get some separation. We need to go downfield and score here. But it's been a problem all year. Come on, hurry up. Hit the ball. I'm going to get a flag. False start on Xavier Leggett. Yeah, so we're just killing ourselves with penalties right here. Can't get anything going here. Just keep shooting ourselves in the foot with these stupid penalties. First and 25 now. Jesus. All the way back at the 5-yard line. And we're just going to do a simple handoff to Rico Dowdle, and we're only going to get like a yard. Rico hasn't really had like a big breakout run yet this game. Kind of just waiting on it. Kind of just getting those like modest like 3-4 yard, 2-yard gains. It's kind of what it's been right now. But now Bryce Young's going to go in the empty set. Second and 23. Only a 3-man rush here. Young in the end zone. He's just going to throw it away in the end zone. Throw it away out of bounds. Which leads to a very long 3rd down. Jeff Ulbrich, who's the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, doing a pretty solid job so far. Keeping Carolina under check in terms of the pass game going down ever since that first drive happened. Been pretty solid so far. But, I mean, when you're playing Carolina's receivers, I mean, you don't really have to worry about much, if we're being honest. Here's a third down and 23 here. This time, another 4-man pressure, and it's going to be a dump down to Tavion Sanders. You don't get like 3 yards. I mean, that job is pretty much over from the beginning. Set yourself up with a very 1st and 25, and then if you're Dave Canales, you're not really going to do anything to, move the ball downfield. You're just going to play safe. I mean, that's what Dave wants to do. So But I guarantee you, if it was any other head coach, they would be aggressive to try and make it manageable. I guarantee it. Not with Dave Canales, though. You're not going to get that. So I knew as soon as we went first and 25, it was GG's. Here's a punt by Sam Martin. Looks like it's going to bounce. Hit at the 40, goes out of bounds. As we go to commercial break again. Second quarter, 5:24 left. Atlanta winning. It's like I wish we could get let's see here.
Okay, that's how it is good to be heard. It feels good to go. The 3 for Me Ultimate Chili now serves up all new things for just $10.99. And that's 85% beef that comes quarter-pound burger. Yeah, hey, that is how you value it. This is the best $10.99 cheese. Free returns there. Now Texas. PRX.
Bro, I'm trying to win. This is not working now. All right, we're back in. It's gonna be a Panther. It's gonna be a Carolina on defense. Near the Bijan Robinson again with a little stutter step goes in. And he just made multiple guys miss on there. He picks up the first down. That's kind of been the game plan so far for Atlanta. It's just to feed the ball to Bijan Robinson and just do a play action off of it. It's kind of been the game plan there. He makes Thornton, jukes out Thornton, and Thornton just kind of runs into an Atlanta defender there. So far, Bijan has 61 rushing yards, 16 receiving yards with 77 total yards and 2 touchdowns on both of Atlanta's scoring drives here. Penix still with only 1 completion. Here's a handoff to Bijan again. This time he's going to pick up again around 5. Here's one the motion into the left side. Another handoff stretch, and he just made Princely move with a little juke there. Like, oh my gosh, this is making me so bad. Princely got juked out of his shoes. Yeah, that's crazy.
He turns a little bit of negative push, a little bit of negative play into now a third short scenario. Yeah, and coming out territory.
Here's a 3rd and 3 Bijan not on the play here. Looks like they're doing something with the summit. But on 3rd down, Atlanta 37 for 109 on 3rd downs this season, which ranks 29th in the NFL. Oh, and this is going to be what looks like to be a false start on it. Yep, false start in Atlanta, 3rd and 8. But now this gives Atlanta the opportunity to bring in Bijan potentially. Here's London on a motion. They just check it down to him and kind of goes down awkwardly. Looks like he's short, but I think they're going to give him the first down. No chipping going on after the play. London motion outside to the inside on a little whip route, and then comes in. I think it goes down backwards. But nonetheless, he picks up the first down. Just approaching the 2-minute warning. Final play before that, and the ref's going to call the play dead with another flag on the play. I mean, so far throughout this game, Michael Penix has been accurate, slicing up the defense so far. Just 10 for 11. 10 for 11 for 140. So very different compared to the previous game against Carolina, but Atlanta calling the timeout there, so there's no flag there. Calling the timeout just before the 2-minute warning. Trying to get some more points here before the half ends. Now you've seen all the pistol formation sets, all the pistol runs that they run out of that formation. Atlanta's 6th in the NFL in terms of rushing yards with just 135 per game. And they're adding on to it as they've been really putting it down on Carolina's run defense so far. That's kind of one of been the strengths of Carolina's defense here, been stopping the run. Here's London on motion. Play action here. And he's going to find London, but the pass is going to be a little too high for him to reach, although there's a flag down on the foot play. And again, just before the 2-minute warning, so they're going to get another play in. But, I mean, Drake London was wide open there, but it was just an overshot. Legal hands to the face, defense. It's going to be an automatic first down. Looks like they're going to get Javon Milray, who's been one of the bright spots for Carolina's defense so far this year in terms of the run game. He's a very good pass defender as well. But I don't know, it kind of looks like it could have gone both ways there as London had his hands to his face. I don't know. They called it on Milray. Both teams have 4 penalties on the game. So they're 2:04 in the second. Last play before the 2-minute warning, he was Ellis in motion a little bit, and they're going to give it to Bijan again. And that's just another pickup for Bijan Robinson. 7 yards on that play, and that leads us to a 2-minute warning with 1:58 left. Atlanta's threatening, looking to score here before the half closes, up 14-7. Back from break, Atlanta with total 76 rushing yards, but feels like way more than that in terms of how much Bijan's really stepping on this Carolina rush defense. Here's a motion to the outside by Robinson. Penix looks to drop back, almost gets batted down, but he hits Drake London on a back shoulder throw, finds him down at the 5. There's a flag on the play. London celebrating like it's going to be against Carolina. He's got to watch here. Could be pass interference here. Yep, holding on 31 on Thornton. London's just going to work him in the slot, going to go up for a fade, and they're just going to use his height and his body control to haul in that throw. So here's the first and goal for Atlanta. I can almost guess what they're going to be doing here. Penix, though, having a really solid half, 11 for 12 for 162, complete 180 of what he is doing now in terms of what he did against Carolina in Week 3. This time they're just in a regular shotgun, running back to his right, signals out to the left, scrambles to his right, and forcing pressure. He's just going to throw it out to the back of the end zone. Had 2 Carolina Panthers right in his face, throws it away. And it looks like there's another flag on the play. Holding on J.C. Horn. So that gives Atlanta another replay of first down. Coming into this game, Carolina was the second least penalized team in the NFL. Yeah, it was a clear hold there. Drake London trying to run that little stutter route on him in the back end zone. Doesn't work out. Here's a first and goal again, this time at the 1-yard line. It's going to be a pistol, and it's going to be Tyler Algier who's going to run in for the touchdown. So this time it's not Bijan Robinson, but they come in with Tyler Algier, and they just run it in again, expanding the lead to 20-7 with Atlanta winning with 1:41 in the second left. So I think the key takeaways right now that I can take away from this game is that Carolina has been struggling heavily with penalties and stopping the run and stopping Michael Penix in this past game. So obviously there needs to be some adjustments made at halftime, but Carolina's going to get the ball back with a minute 41 to try to make this a one-possession game again. But they will get the ball back at halftime, Carolina. So Atlanta just dominating Carolina in all phases of the game right now, up 21-7, minute 58 left. Minute 41, my fault. A 7-play scoring drive right there for Atlanta. Again, I mean, they're just killing Carolina in all phases of the game. But here's a return by Trevor Etienne, who's going to go past a little bit past 30, around to the 31-yard line, 32. With a minute 35, let's see what Carolina can do. Look to get some points on the board, see how aggressive Dave Canales wants to play. But if he wants to play aggressive, then let's do it. Tet motions to the outside of the formation. Here's a little play action. Chuba Hubbard is in the game. Bryce is going to fling it to Tedero McMillan, who runs a dig. Tedero going to run down to the 40, to the 30. Then he goes out of bounds. Now it's a dart. That had to be Tet McMillan's longest play of the year. And he's lined up on the left side against A.J. Terrell. Boom. Uses his hands. And he just tries to outrun their secondary, but he's going to go out of bounds outside there. So that's a really nice drive starter there. Get us into, close range. Try to get something going. Down to the 30. First down with a minute 25. So you have time here. Still with 3 timeouts, and you're going to run the ball at Chuba Hubbard. And you're going to gain around 7 yards there on the carry. Maybe 6. Bryce Young 10 for 12, 123, and a touchdown. So both quarterbacks playing very well in terms of passing. Here's Bryce Young on a drop back. Very high pass. Try to get over to the defender to Chuba Hubbard, who goes in, gets the first down, now goes out of bounds with 42 seconds left. Bryce Young flipped it over to Jelon Walker, the rookie out of Georgia. Ball at the 17. Here's a handoff to Hubbard again. Lowers the shoulder. Close to around the 10-yard line, maybe 11-yard line here. Carolina's going to take their first time out. I don't think I've seen Rico Dowdle yet on this drive. Maybe they want to get some new energy in. All right, 2nd and 4 here. Carolina really needs a score here in order to get back into this game. Hubbard in the backfield alongside him. Bryce Young looks to drop back. Finds Hubbard again on a flat, and he drops the ball, almost intercepted by Bobby Bowman Jr. again. Third down here for Carolina upcoming. So if you're not going to get a touchdown here, you're going to end up kicking a field goal, but it still remains a 2-score game. So it's not really what you want. You're kind of aiming for a touchdown or bust here. Because you're down in the red zone. On the road, you need, as much points as you can possibly get. Carolina today, 2 for 5 on 3rd downs. 37%. Kaden Ellis blitzing. Bryce Young drops back, finds over the seam. Oh, it misses Tedder McMillan in the back of the end zone. Ran a seam route. Looked like he had a pretty good ball on it too, but just couldn't come up with it. Got to see the replay. Ted's going to be in the slot. Atlanta blitzes. Terrell's going to be on him. So he kind of runs like a skinny post. Yeah, he fit it. And it was tipped a little bit by the defender. Couldn't get it. It was tipped. So the question is, will Carolina be going for it here? They will not. They're going to be kicking the field goal with Ryan Fitzgerald, who's 14 for 17 on the year with the long 57. So here's the kick. Good hold. Good snap. Kick is good. So Carolina not able to get a touchdown after a very promising first play of the drive with a long catch and run by Tedder McMillan, but they are able to get 3 points out of it. So better than no points. 21-10 with 25 seconds left in the first half. So after a very promising drive, Carolina settles for 3. Ryan Fitzgerald looks to go kick it off back to Atlanta. Not sure if Atlanta's going to be wanting to advance the lead a little bit more, try to get something before half, or they're just going to nail it. Kick it, gets it around the 5-yard line. He's going to be tackled around the 30, close to the 29. With 19 seconds left, Atlanta has 2 timeouts. I mean, if they want to, do something, they do have their timeouts. I mean, but I think Carolina's going to play deep here, try to settle for nothing, and they're just going to hand it off to Bijan. Try to go to the outside. He's going to get tackled. And 9 seconds left on the clock. Not sure if they were hesitant to call timeout or not. 2nd and 7. They do call timeout. Atlanta does. 1 timeout remaining with 9 seconds. But in terms of the first half of play, Atlanta have been has been killing Carolina on the ground game with Bijan. Um, when stuff isn't there on the first read for Bijan, he just cuts back, makes magic himself, and creates his own separation there. So Bijan, like I said, has been killing them. And then Michael Penix has been very accurate, only one incomplete pass so far throughout this game, 11 for 12, 163 passing. Um, Carolina's going to take their second time out of the game, but Carolina will get the ball coming out of half. So they're going to want to try and cut the lead down to, a one-score game. But I said before this game, the keys to the game, it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to be like last game. You're not going to come in here and win 30-0 like last time. It's going to be hard. And Carolina has struggled a lot with penalties today, so that has been a very and here's Bijan on the cut. Bijan again. So very Bijan after what looked like again there was nothing, just cuts it back across the field. Picks up a lot of momentum there. But that's the halftime right there, 21-10. First half stats, Carolina with only 27 rushing yards, so obviously nothing on the ground game there compared to Atlanta's almost 100 with 94. Then you have 114 to Carolina, 163 for Atlanta. So obviously Atlanta is beating Carolina in almost every statistical stat in the first half. So yeah, 21-10, Carolina will get the ball to receive after halftime. All right, we're back in the second half to start. Carolina's getting the ball. So we're going to see what Bryce Young and this offense is able to do. Bryce Young in the first half was 11-15 for 130 and a passing touchdown. Not a whole lot going in terms of running the football. Rico Dowdle with only 5 carries for 15 yards. So obviously a major step down in what his production has been able, what he's been able to do the past, couple starts he's had. But yeah. And then on the other side for Atlanta, I mean, it's really a three-headed monster between Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. I mean, we have to stop Bijan Robinson in the run game if we want to have a chance to win this game because, I mean, he's just really putting it on us in terms of that. 16 carries for 110, 2 touchdowns there, and then Michael Penix Jr. only 1 incomplete pass. So you're not going to win a whole lot of games if you allow that type of production from the other team. But here we go, Bryce Young in the pistol. Little play action, roll to the right, kind of. He's just going to dump it to Rico Dowdle, trying to get something there. Looks like he's going to gain about 4 or 5 on the gain. But, I mean, at least Carolina now has more points than they scored last week against New Orleans, which they only scored 7 points, and that was from their first drive of the game. And then from there on out, they didn't score anything. Offense was flat the entire game after that. But here's Bryce on the center with Jalen Coker in motion. And, little play action there. Finds Coker. And looks like he's going to be about a inch short of the first down to gain. I don't know if they're going to give him the forward progress or not. Good thing they did that play action, though, because D lineman was all over that. Yeah, I think it's going to be third down and inches. Coke on the shoulder on Terrell. 3rd and 1. Dowdle is going to lower his shoulder and get the first down for Carolina. Keep the drive going. But like I was saying, I mentioned the 300 monster with Atlanta. I mean, Drake London has kind of been finding the zones and what Evero has been doing, what Evero, what his scheme is, kind of been finding those zones for 5 catches for 108 yards. Hasn't found the end zone yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. So yeah, I mean, those 3 got to contain. Hopefully, Israel, drew up some schemes there. Here's Bryce Young on a deep drop back, finds Coker deep down the field. Well, it looks to be a crossing route from Jalen Coker. Bryce Young evading the pressure, and that's what you want to see out of Bryce Young and this Dave Canales offense. You want to see more shots down the field. Yeah, I mean, Coker just outruns the defender, and then that's what this Panthers offense is missing. We need more shots down the field. We need more down plays. And good things happen when you're able to, explore your offense a little bit more, expand the playbook instead of just running it and then throwing, under 10-yard passing plays. And here's another deep shot. Looking for example. Woo! And there's a touchdown for Xavier Leggett, and that's what I'm saying, right on cue. A deep passing play, touchdown, hitting Xavier Leggett. 2 receivers in the backfield. Xavier Leggett's just going to run a go route, a little stick there to get the defender off of him. What a throw, what a catch. Leggett, that's all hands right there. Touchdown, Carolina. That's got to be like the best play of the year so far for Carolina. And Carolina's going to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Got 3 receivers wide bunch to the right side. Tremble close, tight to the left with Terrell on him. Young looks to throw, pressure in his face. Man, he's not going to get anything anywhere. Gets sacked. James Pierce Jr., his second sack of the game. But nonetheless, a huge touchdown for Carolina. Gets them back in this game. 21-16. 12:04 in the third. That drive was only 5 plays, 68 yards, just under 3 minutes. Bryce Young went 4 for 4 for 66 passing yards on that drive. And I just told Michael, this is what happens when you open the playbook. This is what happens when you let your players, go downfield and try to make plays. Good things will happen. You have to make the other team respect you in terms of, defending the whole field, not just, the intermediate stuff. Oh, here's a fumble. Carolina may have it. Fumble on the kickoff return. Carolina says they have it. It is Carolina football. Ah! That's what I'm talking about right there. Carolina forced the turnover. And that was a clear fumble. Not sure who forced it, though. Let's see. Looks to be number 57. I don't even know who that is, though. Yeah, he just puts his hand in there. Brooks does not do a good job at holding onto the ball well. And then Carolina gets on it. Yep. So look at special teams coming into play. Now Carolina has the ball at Atlanta's 32-yard line, looking to take the lead now. Yep, it is a confirmed fumble recovery for the Carolina Panthers here. I think Princely is the one who recovered it. So a chance now to take the lead with just 12 minutes in the third. This is what you want if you're Carolina and you're on the road. Here's Trumbull coming into motion. Another play action. Young rolling to his right. Finds Liggett. Looking to be a 6-yard catch, which will put Bryce Young over 200 yards passing on the day. Very accurate day for Bryce Young. Only 4 incomplete passes thrown. No interceptions. If we can keep it to, a turnover-free game for Carolina, I think good things will happen. But Bryce Young has been questioned to throw, interceptions, a lot. So here's Liggett in motion to the right. A little pitch over to Rico Dowdle. Dowdle trying to get some blockers. Flag on the play. I think it's going to be coming back in terms of holding. Yep. Holding on Jalen Coker, which will push back the offense. Again, another penalty. Just trying to stall Carolina's drive here. They just can't allow that. And if you're Coker, you just got to let him go right there. Because, the edge player is trying to get around him. But Coker, all he needs to do is just put his hands on them and then just let go. And then the play is done. But instead, it's a 2nd and 15, which makes it harder on the offense in terms of play calling. But so far, I kind of like what Dave Canales is calling up today. I think he found the criticism. I think he's opened up the playbook more. Here's an empty formation. McMillan in the slot. 2nd and 15. Bryce looking to drop back. Steps up in the pocket. He flips it over to Liggett. Liggett has some space. Cross the first down marker. And then he's going to be down in the red zone. Out of bounds. So here are the Carolina Panthers rolling again. You go empty formation, you spread the defense out, only 4 Falcon players rushing, and Bryce Young just with a little sidearm sling there to Liggett, floating it over the top, and Liggett just do what he does best after the catch. So Carolina past the red zone now. Liggett with 4 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Here's a handoff to Rico Dowdle. Going to get around 4 yards on this carry. But, man, it always seems to be that Bryce Young is able to just have these breakout games against Atlanta every single time they played one another. I don't think it's – and here's another handoff to Dowdle off the under center snap. He's going to get it around 3 yards there. Sets up a 3rd down. And then things stand in terms of the NFC South standings. You got Carolina, who is 2nd place with a 5-5 record. Obviously, if you win this game, you tie Tampa Bay with 6 wins, which I think Tampa Bay is in a close game with Buffalo as we speak. Yeah, 20-21 Buffalo wins. So if Buccaneers lose, Carolina will be half a game back in 1st place in the division with Atlanta still remaining in 3rd place. But here we go, 3rd and 4. Young again drops back, finds Jatavion Sanders, but he's going to be short of the sticks. And I think if you're Dave Canales, how aggressive are you willing to be to go for it here? And how aggressive are you you have the momentum now? Do you want to go for it and write your hopes in getting a touchdown here and taking the lead, or are you going to play it safe and go for a field goal? I think if you're him right now, you got to go for it. This is a free possession, basically. So here's a 4th and 1. They are going to go for it, which I think is the correct call here. You have momentum. Why not? You're on the road. I think it's a no-brainer here. Stacking the box, Atlanta is. Show and run. Little play action. Trying to get someone out. Young looking to fight, and he's not going to get the 1st down. He's going to be tackled down by Caden Ellis, and he's going to be short. Young looking to throw, did not find anyone, took it himself, and he's going to be down short of the marker. Caden Ellis with a tremendous play. Yeah, young pump fake, couldn't find no one, took it himself when he was a yard short of the marker. Atlanta leads 21-16 still. 8:09 left in the third. All right. We're back. Atlanta's in the pistol again, and here's another handoff to Bijan Robinson. Stutter step. He's not going to get nowhere. He's going to be at the line of scrimmage. But let's go back to the last play. You had Bryce Young roll out to his right, pump fake. Couldn't really find no one. No one's really open. But then Caden Ellis, linebacker for Atlanta, comes in, makes an excellent stop, open field tackle. If he wasn't there, Bryce Young's going to get the first down in the game to keep the drive going. But so it was really a well played play on him, his part. Here's Penix and shotgun, regular shotgun, with Bijan lined up next to him. Quick pass over to Kyle Pitts, his first catch of the game, which will result in 7 yards. 3rd down and 3 upcoming. Third down and 2. See, I wouldn't be surprised if they just throw something quick here to Drake London, who's lined up in the slot. Emotion Mooney looks like he's going to run a drag crosser. Yep, they hit London on a short out route like I expected. I mean, defenders were playing like 8-10 yards off of him, so kind of looking at that part of the field, and I'm assuming that's what Michael Penix had. A little bobble on the snap there, but nonetheless, hit Drake London right there. Morik on the stop. Which results in a first down for Atlanta. Drake London on the day with 6 catches for 113, so obviously haven't been able to stop him. Here again in the pistol. Here's a play action. Penix looking, can't find no one. Now he's running, scoring, the only one there close to him. I think he's going to have enough to pick up the first down off of the scramble. Penix doesn't scramble a whole lot. It's going to be second down and short. Yeah, no one was open. Michael Penix just had to take it himself. Did the best he could there. Second and 1 here. Again in the pistol. Bijan, another juke of Derek Brown. And he's going to be tackled down at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be holding, flag on the play, holding on Atlanta. On Lindstrom of the Falcons offensive line. So it's going to be taken down a replay, second down. There's been numerous times now that Bijan has been stuck in the backfield and he's just been able to create something out of nothing with his juking ability and his quickness. And that's just something that you can't really teach. Bijan's one of the best in the league to do that. But here's a second and 11 here for Atlanta. They're in the same weird junky formation like they were previously in the first half. Penix looking to throw, trying to find Darnell Mooney, but it's incomplete. Mike Jackson was on coverage there. Mooney's been very quiet this game. He's had a couple catches, but nothing really game affecting. Trying to run a comeback or a curl, but Mike Jackson's just kind of sitting on that, and Darnell Mooney isn't able to come up with the catch. So now you're down at third and long. Atlanta's 3 out of 4 today on third downs. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Drake London. This time, Carolina just sends a full-out blitz, and nothing's there. Great scheme play for Israel Evero. I don't think Atlanta was expecting blitz there, but Carolina just sent everyone, and now Michael Penix, or no, that's Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson lipping a little bit after the play. No, that was Penix. Yeah. Got hit by Javon Morig. Kind of awkward landing there for Penix. Now he's down on the field. Yeah, Evero sending blitz there. And Penix was not expecting it. But now Penix is up on his feet. Kirk Cousins is the backup. So, if anything, Kirk Cousins will come in the game if Penix can't go the next drive. Taking off the call sheet on his wrist. As he goes to the locker room, Atlanta's going to punt with 5:20 in the third over to Carolina. Bradley Pinion. Oh, my gosh. There's a flag on Carolina, it looks like. Yep. Neutral zone infraction. Encroachment. We're resulting in 4th and 6, so they'll still be punting, but just gotta watch the ball here. Here's Bradley Pinion to punt. Over to the 21. And that's where the Panthers will take over. Bryce Young coming out. When we return, 5:12 in the third. Panthers down 5. And we're back here. ETN goes motion, little orbit, hand off to Rico Dowdle, and Dowdle's going to get around 4 yards down the carry. While doing on YouTube. All right, Bryce Young with a low snap and checks it down to Rico Dowdle. Looks to get the first down and a little bit more. Lowers the shoulder and he hits Jesse Bates, goes out of bounds. First down, Carolina. 4:25 in the third. So since Rico Dowdle's not really getting a whole lot done in the running game, they're trying to let him go in space in terms of throwing the ball with a little check down to the side, a little swing route. Try to get him going if the run game's not there. I like it. Here's Bryce Young, a little naked bootleg. Nothing there, just throws it to the dirt. Not really liking that play call. So here's a second down and 10 for Carolina. Jimmy Horn Jr. in motion. Hand off to Chuba Hubbard, and Hubbard going to get around 6 yards on the carry. 3rd and 4 coming up. And here's another orbit with Trevor Etienne in motion. Young looks to drop back, finding Tedero McMillan on the comeback, coming back to the ball, diving for it, and the Panthers will pick up a first down. Keeping the drive going. This is Bryce Young's arguably best game this season in terms of passing. Already at 248 yards, closing in on 300. Tedero McMillan, 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown for him today. So here's another play action for Carolina. Young looking to throw it down. He has Mitchell Evans wide open down to the 20-yard line. And again, moving the ball downfield is key if you want to explore the playbook. Exploit this Atlanta Falcons defense, and this is what Bryce Young and Dave Canales is doing. This is what we are talking about. If you are able to do this, you have success. I don't know why it's been taking so long to find that out, but this is what happens when you do that. 25-yard passing play there to Mitchell Evans, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Young under center, a little counter run play here to Rico Dowdle. Dowdle, a little awkward, but fumble, but he was down. Clear, knees were down. Pick up around 4 there. But Rico today has been kind of a slow and steady, methodical run game. Really hasn't had a big chunk of rushing yards yet on a certain play. There's big Damian Lewis just moving the defender out of the way. So here we go. Yeah, only 10 rushes for 29 yards for Rico Dowdle. Here's another play action over to Tommy Tremble. Where's the flag there? Try to hit Tommy Tremble off a little side sling throw, off a play action, little block and go for him. But Tommy Tremble just dropped it there. And then Jesse Bates comes in at the legs. So it leads to a 3rd and 6. Trimble obviously frustrated. 3rd and 6 here for Carolina. Feels like you need a conversion here. 3 receivers to the left side. JT Sanders to the right, alone. Pressure coming. Young tries to fit it in between 3 Falcon defenders, but it is tipped. Looking for Exo in the end zone, but it is deflected by A.J. Terrell on coverage. So you have Tedder McMillan coming in on a crossing route, and Liggett looks like trying to run post, but the ball just really wasn't going to get there. Leads to a field goal attempt for Carolina by Ryan Fitzgerald, who's 1 for 1 today, made that 29-yard field goal earlier before the half was over. Here's his attempt from 34 yards, and it is good. So Carolina, down 19-21. Just under a minute in the 3rd quarter left. We're back on the kickoff. Again, stumbles over to around 23-yard line, which is where Atlanta will take over. Kirk Cousins coming in the game, so they couldn't really get a whole lot on Michael Penix. But Kirk Cousins coming into the game, he was benched earlier in the year, last year. Michael Penix taking over, now in his 14th year, 2nd season with Atlanta. Signed into a mega contract last year. Things did not work out, was benched late. And now he's coming in, holding a 2-point lead against Carolina. See how the offense goes now that he is in the game. Here's a handoff to Algier. Looks like he's going to pick up around 6 yards on the carry. But now I think does the offense differ between quarterbacks? Not that it change. I don't think so because I think Penix and Kirk Cousins are both, pocket passers. Penix a little bit more mobile. He can run a little bit, but he's not that. He wants to see the pocket passer. So I don't think the offense changes much, but I think you're going to get a little bit better accuracy with Kirk Cousins in. Again, as Atlanta runs, now take us to the end of the third quarter, which will, when we come back, Atlanta 3rd down and 1 to start the fourth quarter. So it's winning time up here in Atlanta. Carolina trying to improve to 6-5, down by 2. All right, we're back to start the fourth quarter, and here's Atlanta looking in for their own version of the tush push, and they're going to get the first down with Kirk Cousins under the center. Picks up a first down. So now if you're Adriel Evero, what is your philosophy? What is your game plan now that Kirk Cousins is in the game? Do you kind of you got to play to his weaknesses now? I'm sure there's a lot of it, but now you got to play to that different than, Penix is. Here's a little play action, a little dump off to Algier, who's going to be met by Trevon Moehrig at the line of scrimmage. Maybe gets a yard. Moehrig is our best defensive player in terms of stuffing plays at the line of scrimmage or stuffing plays behind the line of scrimmage. That's what he's there. He's our kind of plays a little bit of everywhere. Slot corner, safety, whatever you want to put him at. Cousins hits Kyle Pitts right at the sticks. Looks like got Kyle Pitts running a slant. No. A little stop and slant. I'm just call it stop and slant. 3rd and 1 coming up for Atlanta. Here's Carolina bunching up the line, trying to find something, and they're going to stop Bijan Robinson way behind the line of scrimmage. Rosenboom was the first one there. You had all those Panther players in the box, and then Rosenboom just gets off his block and then goes and gets Bijan Robinson right there to stuff him right there behind the line. And the Carolina defense will get off the field here, forcing Atlanta to punt the ball with around 12:34 left in the fourth to Carolina. That's a great defensive stop if you're Carolina. Now you have a chance to come back out, a chance to get the lead with a field goal or a touchdown. And let's see what Carolina wants to do here. Get the ball at around the 15-yard line. Rosenboom was the first man there, forcing the stop. Carolina down to 12-13 when we come back. All right, we're back here. Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers having the ball from around the 16-yard line. Here's Bryce on a little play action, trying to go downfield again, looking, and he has Ted McMillan again. McMillan tries to hurdle a defender, and he has him for a first down, which I think will put him over 300 yards passing. McMillan's just going to run a simple corner route, loses the defender. So like I just don't know why it has to be against Atlanta where we open up things for Bryce Young. Like I don't understand that. But that catch puts Ted McMillan over 100 yards on the day. 6 catches and a touchdown there. Here's Rico Dowdle with a handoff, and he's going to get around 4-5 yards on the carry.
Second down coming up. Wednesday night, college hoops doubleheader on FS1 starting at 7 Eastern. Number 5 Arizona gets solo ball and Utah after big win in Boston against BYU last night. And Alabama, Illinois. Any non-conference games early in the year in college basketball, you're going to wonder that for everybody.
So here's 2nd and 7. 2 receivers on each side, both split out wide stack. Looks like it's going to be finding Leggett. I don't think that's a fumble. They're letting them play on, but I don't think that's a fumble. I don't think Leggett had enough. I don't think he had a catch and he made a football move. I think that's an incomplete pass. They're already rolling it down a 3rd down. Yep, incomplete. Leggett, you're going to run a slant. Catch, yeah, clear, incomplete. Never even made a football move. Here's a 3rd and 7 for Carolina coming up. Brooks is the one who forced the incomplete. Today, Carolina just 4 for 10 on 3rd downs with a 37% completion rate. Young making a bunch of audibles at the line. Here's a snap. A lot of pressure towards Young, and he's going to find a way to evade, and he's just going to take a sack. I don't like that at all. I don't like that. He just kind of took the sack. He wasn't even trying to throw the ball there. I do not like that at all. Bryce Young did not even try to attempt to throw the ball downfield, even though he had clear as day some room to make stuff happen. They're sending like 6-7 people at Bryce Young. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I think that's Bryce Young's first bad mistake today. Not sure why he wasn't trying to get rid of the football, and so he just takes a big sack there. And here's a punt by Sam Martin, which drops down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. And Atlanta will be getting the ball when we return. Carolina, nothing after that Ted McMillan catch. Atlanta gets the ball. Up 2. All right, we're back with 10-14 in the fourth. Cousins under center with a stretch play over to Bijan Robinson. He's going to get around 3 yards on the play, 7 yards on the play. My fault.
First drive, the last drive of the half, that would be what you there is on Baltimore. It's a 5 Bijan Robinson's
I'll do this. My face cam here. Let me get my charger. Here's a little toss play to Bijan Robinson. He's not going to get anything. It's going to be a loss of 6 on the play. Nick Scorton was the first one there. Just beat Kyle Pitts' block. I'm at a different angle now. I'm charging my laptop. 3rd and 8 for Atlanta. Cousins just drop. Finds a receiver in Drake London, but it's incomplete, and they're going to call a flag on J.C. Horn. And J.C. Horn's visibly upset about the call. Not sure what it's on. Yep, they're going to call pass interference on J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn has had multiple pass interference / holding calls this year, in which have been very questionable. He's been very adamant about it on social media. He just lined up on London. He's going to try and take away his outside, goes inside. I don't want to see anything there. That looked like just a bail call there. Reset it down. So that's 8th penalty on Carolina today. Cousins under center. Play action. Here's a check down to Robinson. And he's going to pick up the first down. So if you're Carolina here, you got to have to play with a sense of urgency. Clock's winding down. Atlanta's kind of been in charge of, time of possession this game. You got 8:30 left in the fourth. You're only down 1 score. So defense is going to have to come away with a stop here to get the offense back in business. Haven't crossed midfield yet. Here's Kyle Pitts motioning to the right. Here's another play action. Cousins, nothing there. And he's going to throw it away to the outside, out of bounds, which stops the clock with 8 minutes and 11 seconds left. 2nd down for Atlanta. Yeah, no one was open there. He tried to go to Bijan Robinson on the check down, but that was covered. As we get a game break, New York Giants on upset alert. Jameis Winston going in for the 1-yard QB sneak, which puts New York up 1 against Green Bay, 20-19. Back here, 2nd and 10 for Atlanta. Cousins making some audibles. Here's a Kyle Pitts motion. Cousins to drop. He tries to find Pitts. Tries to find Mooney, but it's incomplete. Thornton on the coverage. No flag on the play. Mooney kind of slow to get up. Atlanta was expecting a flag there. Yeah, Thornton's just lined up on Mooney man-to-man coverage. That was really good press coverage. I think that's fair. You get a little bit of hand fighting there. You get a clear no call on J.C. Horn, a couple players prior. I think that's fair. And here's another 3rd down for Atlanta here. 3rd and 10. Carolina looking to send pressure off with J.C. Horn. Here's Cousins on deep ball. It's almost intercepted by Thornton again. He was looking for Darnell Mooney. Thornton with the pass breakup, which forces Atlanta to punt the ball with 8:01 left in the fourth. And it looked like, I don't think Cousins saw Thornton coming in, but he did throw that into double coverage. 4th and 10, Atlanta will punt the ball. So very good defensive stand there on Carolina's ends after the PI on J.C. Horn. Bradley Pinion to punt the ball away. And this one aiming for the sidelines. And it's going to go bounce into the end zone, which results Carolina getting the ball at around the 20-yard line. Carolina getting a huge stop on defense. We'll see Bryce Young and the offense take the field with 7:54 left in the fourth quarter. Looking to score when we come back. And we're back as the Panthers will take the field on offense once again with 7:54 left. Bryce Young trying to give his Panthers the lead. They're down actually at what looks to be the 7-yard line. So they need to go 93 yards. There's a little counter run play to Rico Dowdle. They're going to pick up or gain around 6-7 yards. Second and 4 coming up for Carolina. And like I said earlier, last time Bryce Young was in this building here in Atlanta, he had 5 total touchdowns and a win for Carolina. Trying to do the same here once again, but this time improve them to a winning record. Atlanta trying to spoil that as they're 3-6. Here's Bryce Young on a step on a drop back. He's going to find Liggett falling down, incomplete. 3rd and 4 coming up. Young stumbling, limping again, taking a hit. Canales and the coaching staff got to see that. Yeah, the ball wasn't really close to getting to Liggett. I mean, he did make an attempt to try to get that, but wasn't very accurate. And here's 3rd and 4. Young going right back to that ankle as he was falling down. Here's 3rd and 4. Critical. Atlanta likes to blitz on these 3rd downs. Wouldn't be surprised if they do it here, which they do. Young looking. He's going to find Jalen Coker. What a strong catch. Advancing Carolina to move the chains with just under 7 minutes remaining. And Coker lined up on the right outside. Doesn't get much separation, but his strong catch ability is just what wins him right there at the point of attack. Had Jalon Walker right up in Bryce Young's face, and Young just delivers a dart to Coker. And now we have what I believe is Xavier Leggett down on the field with medical. Not sure what happened there, which stops the clock at 6:50. And Leggett will be coming off the field, who has been very valuable for Carolina and their production today. He has 4 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. He's the one that called in that monster touchdown earlier in the game. Bryce Young, 23 for 32, 313, and 2 touchdowns on the game. His second 300-yard passing game this year. As the clock now starts to wind down again, here's a toss play to Rico Dowdle, and he's not going to get much. Stopped down with only a gain of 1 on the play. Second down coming up for Carolina. Now for Carolina, you can slowly chew down this clock, but you gotta kind of get down the past midfield if you want to feel comfortable enough to do that. Just hitting the 6-minute mark. Dowdle, 13 carries for 39. Not a whole lot in the run game, but we have been successful passing the ball. Here's 2nd and 9. Young drops back, looks to throw, incomplete, looking for Tedero McMillan. A.J. Terrell was on coverage, forcing an incomplete pass. 39 coming up for Carolina. McMillan lined up on the outside, tries to run a slant, but Terrell was not getting in, forces the breakup. This is a critical 3rd down here if you're Carolina. You're going to want to throw past the sticks. Can't throw it directly to the sticks. That's where they will be covering for the majority. 3 receivers lined up on the right side with JT Sanders on the left, closely tight. Young drops back to throw. He's going to find Tedero McMillan on the out route, and he's going to use his yak ability to pick up the 1st down, and he will. Very surprising play call there from Dave Canales, but it was very unexpected. I mean, assuming Atlanta really wasn't expecting that. They were expecting more of a deep pass. You get a blocker there in Coker after he catches the ball, which is Tremaine, the undrafted rookie who has played in a couple games for Carolina this season, made some catches earlier in the year, but he blocks for McMillan in order to pick up the 1st down. Very impressive on his part. We're going to get what looks like a timeout called by Carolina. No, Atlanta is challenging the ruling on the field of a 1st down. So they think that Tedero McMillan's knee was down before he reached the 1st down marker. I think he got in. I think this will be ruled a 1st down still. Yeah, Tremaine getting the block on Jesse Bates. McMillan makes a move. I think that's a 1st down. His right knee is down about an inch from the 1st down marker. Dean Blandino, the rules expert, talking in now. But I think it's going to remain a first down. Because it was 39, so if they do not get if it's not ruled a first down, it will be 4th and short. It's 4th down. Okay, so the call is reversed. His knee was down. Now, if you're Dave Canales, what's the play call here? Looks like they will be going to punt. They're going to be trusting their defense. No, they're not. Huddle will stay out, and they're going to go for it. Now, do I like this call? Maybe. Because if you don't get the first down here, you put Atlanta into really good field position, really good opportunity to chew down this clock. They are winning by 2. But if you do get it, it gives you a good opportunity to chew down the rest of this clock in hopes of making a field goal. So the clock resets to 5:30. Everyone in Atlanta on their feet, hoping for a 4th down stop here. Caden Ellis, the leader of that Falcon defense, getting everyone organized. Young under center, Rico Dowdle in the backfield, and they're going to pick up the first down. All Rico needed was a yard, and he got just that and a little bit more, which keeps the drive going. And now you have a great opportunity now to really settle in and play your brand of football the way you've been playing all game long. Even though the run game was not there, their most important run came in at that time with Rico Dowdle, which now puts them just under 50 yards rushing on 14 carries. Here's Young on a drop back. Incomplete, looking for Xavier Leggett again, but Falcons defense been on that. Brooks again, number 35. And was that before? Did he hit him before the ball came to him? Not sure. But that incomplete pass stops the clock with 4:34 on a 2nd down and 10 coming up. 2 receivers on each side. He goes to a spread formation. Rico Dowdle alongside Bryce Young. Here's Young on a drop back again. Looks to find. He checks it down to Rico Dowdle. 2 Falcons defender makes one miss, and then he's tackled down with a gain around 5, which leads 3rd and 5 coming up. Now we're closing in on the end. Just under 4 minutes here now. 3rd and 4. Bryce Young, 327 yards passing on the day. Here's Coker motioning to the left side. Here's a handoff to Chuba Hubbard. And he's going to be short of the mark to gain, which will lead 4th and 1 coming up. Now, are we going to go for it again? I think you do. This is an easy decision. You went for it previously on 4th and 1. You go for it again here. They just handed it off to Chuba Hubbard. Hasn't had a lot of carries today compared to Dowdle, obviously, since Dowdle has to start. But here we go again. 4th and 1. Let's see what both sides do here. Looks like Carolina's going in an I formation, motioning Trimble to the left side. 2 backs. Oh, and Bryce Young falls down. Oh, my gosh. Bryce Young falling down, tripping over either his own self or someone else, but he tripped regardless. And now he's down on the field. And I think that's going to be the rest. I think that's going to be it for him going down the rest of this game. Yeah, I don't know if he stepped on someone. Got to get a closer look here. But regardless, yeah, someone stepped on his ankle, and then again, even after that, I think it was Zavala, and then again someone stepped on his ankle again. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for him for going forward for the rest of this game. Don't think they want to apply any more damage to that ankle. And I think that's going to be the rest of the way will be Andy Dalton if the Panthers are able to get another possession. But yeah, the play didn't even have a chance because since Bryce Young slipped or got tripped. So now Atlanta will take over with 3:02 left. Each team has all their timeouts. And here we go. Atlanta has the ball at the 40-yard line. London motioning into a tight handoff to Bijan, and looks like Bijan's going to get around maybe 3 yards on the carry. Carolina's going to take their first timeout. 2 timeouts remaining. They still have the 2-minute warning as well. So, worst case scenario, or best case scenario, I shall say, is you hold Atlanta to a field goal here. Worst case, they get a first down, shoot some more clock, and then potentially maybe even a touchdown. But if you're Carolina, your best bet is to just hold them in check right here and then force a 4th down. 2nd and 7. Here's Kirk Cousins again. Handoff to Bijan, and Bijan's going to gain of 2-3 on the carry, which will lead to 3rd and 4. Carolina's going to take their second timeout, 1 remaining. They still have the 2-minute warning. So ever since Kirk Cousins came in the game, only 6 passes. Michael Penix is on the sidelines. But coming up is a 3rd and 5. And I think if you're Atlanta, this has to be a passing down because you don't want to just run it again and just give Carolina the ball. Going to want to pass it here. Only need 5 to pick up the first down. 2:52 is a crucial down here. Cousins under center. No, he's not. He's shotgun. 2 backs in the backfield. Here's Robinson on the motion, orbit. Incomplete pass, was looking for Drake London. And it's incomplete, which forces not sure if it's going to be a field goal or a punt here. J.C. Horn was on coverage, but number 53, Churlis, made the hit on Drake London, which impacted the play heavily, which forced him to drop the ball. So it's going to be a field goal attempt by Zane Gonzalez. Just came in last week, replacing Parker Romo. It's going to be a 52-yard field goal. 1 for 1. He made a 43-yarder this season, and his kick is good. So Carolina will get the ball with 2:43 left. They're going to need a touchdown in order to take the lead. No field goal will do them any good. They're going to have one timeout and the 2-minute warning still. And if Carolina is somehow able to win this game, that play by Shirless will heavily be impacted in the outcome. But Zane Gonzalez sneaks that one through. Looks like Bryce Young is actually going to come back in the game. Keeps giving these weird signals that he's not going to come in. He's going to come in. He's playing on a really bad ankle. But Bryce Young, 9 career game-winning drives. Has, I believe, 2 against Atlanta, 1 during his rookie year when it was pouring down rain in Charlotte. Low-scoring game, came down the field, beat Atlanta there. And obviously last year, week 18, final game of the regular season, a game that didn't matter for Carolina in terms of playoffs or anything. Went down on a game-winning drive and beat them. Trying to do it again, make it 10 career game-winning drives in his 3rd season with Carolina. Yeah, 9 career game-winning drives out of his 11 career wins as a Panthers starter. 2:43 left in the 4th quarter. They're going to try and go down the field and score here. I'm shaking. All right, here we go. You're going to have Coker motioning to the right. 3 receivers there. Tedero McMillan lined up on A.J. Terrell to the left side of the screen. Young looking to drop, rolls to his left. He's going to throw it. Incomplete. 2nd and down coming. Not a good way. You want to start to drive. Incomplete pass, which forces a 2nd and long, but here we go in an empty bunch formation. 3 receivers bunched up to the right side of the field. Rico Dowdle and JT Sanders to the left side of the formation. Here's Young on a drop back. He's going to find Tremaine on a little 5-yard catch. Clock's moving. 3rd down and 5 coming up. 2:25 in the 4th. 3rd and 4, actually. They don't have to run a play here before the 2-minute warning, but it looks like they will. They're in the huddle right now. 2:10 remaining. Clock's going down. I don't think they're going to run a play. Yep. Young takes it to the 2-minute warning. Panthers down by 5, 19-24. And they're going to need some things to go their way in order to win this game. Trying to improve to 6-5 when we come back. All right, we're back. Bryce Sloan dropping down, looking to find someone. No one's open. He's going to find Chuba Hubbard. No, incomplete pass. It's 4th down and 4. This is the game right here. Game's on the line right here. Game's on the line right here. Couldn't find anyone. Bryce Sloan scrambled to his right. Try to find Chuba Hubbard on the check down. Dropped it. 4th and 4 coming up. If Carolina does not get this, the game is over. Dave Canales needs to go deep in his playbook on his best 4th down and 4 play. Chuba needs to get on those jugs after this game. Panthers 2 for 4 on 4th down this game. Here we go. Empty formation. 5 receivers. Here's the game. We're going to find JT Sanders on a 1st down. Game still alive. Young quickly getting the ball out to JT Sanders. Minute 44. Carolina needs to go no huddle here. Only one timeout, trying to save that timeout. Down at midfield. 3 receivers to the right. Young drops back. Looking. Finding a receiver. Gonna find Trey Mayen down the sidelines. Tiptoeing in. 1st down. Carolina goes out of bounds, which stops the clock at a minute 29. Young trying to get that 10th career game-winning drive. 27 for 40. 343 yards. 2 passing touchdowns. Michael Penix Jr. left the game with an injury during this game. Bijan Robinson has been the workhorse for Atlanta this game. 22 carries for 100 yards. That's been the game summary for this one. Young dealing with a bad ankle, heavily affected. Minute 29, stops the clock. Young drops back. Again, finds Rico Dowdle trying to go up for a set screen. Pass to 30, down to the 20. Hop steps, going out of bounds. Do the 10 stays in bounds. Touchdown! Touchdown, Carolina! Rico Dowdle off the screen, tiptoeing his way into the end zone. And that gives Carolina the lead, 25-24, with an extra point, giving them a 2-point lead. If they go for a 2-point conversion, it will be a 3-point game, which settles Atlanta to go for a field goal to tie the game. But it looks like they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here. Rico Dowdle off the screen. 3 receivers to the right. Looks like a simple check down, but here come the 3 blockers. Rico Dowdle's going to set up. Boom. Has the 3 blockers, goes right past them. Boom. Runs by Jesse Bates. He's going to go out of bounds. Ooh, never mind. He might be out of bounds here. Yup. Oh, that's close. That is so close. I think he may have stepped out of bounds at the 10-yard line. They're reviewing the scoring play right now. Now, if we really want to look at it, so they're looking at Rico Dowdle's feet. Looks like his left foot barely stays in, but as he swipes it to run, they think that's where he got out of bounds. So ruling on the field is a touchdown with a minute 20 left. They are reviewing it. This one's really close. I wouldn't be surprised if it's taken back. So Rico Dowdle, ruling on the field, stepped out of bounds at the 10-yard line, so that's going to take away the touchdown. But the Panthers will still have the ball at the 10 with a minute 20, so that's good. They erase some clock. So they can potentially save that, because if they scored, Atlanta would have had 3 timeouts and a minute 23 to go down the field and score. So that's actually pretty good. So still, only one timeout left. Minute 23. They're at the 10-yard line. They need 10 yards to score a touchdown. Young, 29 for 42, almost 400 yards passing. 2 touchdowns. Here we go. McMillan lined up on the right side by himself. One high safety. Coker motioning to the right. Young. Handoff to Rico Dowdle, and nothing's going to get there. Not sure why the Panthers are deciding to run the ball there. But it's going to be a loss of yardage there. Atlanta's taking a timeout here. Second and goal coming up after this timeout. Just a whole lot coming into this game. Bryce Young playing on an injured ankle. Then you have Michael Penix get out of the game due to injury. All right, here we go. Second and goal. 1:19 left in the fourth. 3 receivers to the right at the 12-yard line. Young drops back, tippy toes, finds a man. Incomplete, looking for Rico Dowdle. Incomplete, third down and goal. So if you're Dave Canales, they're obviously playing the end zone. You're going to want to get a couple yards to make it manageable. You're going to want to get something there. So you're playing on 2 downs right here. You have third down and fourth down. You're not playing on 1 down here. You're playing 2 downs here. You have third down and fourth down to go for it. So you're going to want something manageable here in order to make it easier on your fourth down conversion. Here we go again. Empty set, 3 receivers to the right. McMillan in the slot on the left side. Young, 3-man pressure. Young looking to the end zone. He's going to run. He's going to throw. He's going to find Tanner Rowe and McMillan. Touchdown, Carolina. Young with his 3rd touchdown pass. He finds McMillan with 1:08 left. And that is a confirmed touchdown. Carolina leads with 1:08 left. McMillan's just going to run it out, and then he's going to go back up with Ellis on him. Ellis just loses him in space. Really was just a simple out route, but then Young redirected him up, touchdown. And now Carolina's going to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. So Atlanta has to score a field goal to tie the game. Here we go again. Chuba Hubbard in the backfield. McMillan to the left alone. 3 receivers to the right. Young snaps. Pulls. Finds Coker in the back corner of the end zone with a 2-point conversion. So now Carolina up 3. Comes all the way back. Who at one point were down 2 scores at halftime. Now it comes all the way back 27-24. The resiliency of this team. And now it all comes on to the defense. Can the defense get 1 stop to win this game and improve to 6-5? And that was a beautiful, beautiful throw by Bryce Young to where only Jalen Coker can get it in the back corner of the end zone. So now, McMillan, that was his 2nd touchdown of the game. Young's 3rd passing touchdown of the game. No interceptions. Clean football all around for him. Just this half alone, Bryce Young, 19 for 24 and 264 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. So now Kirk Cousins, who has only thrown 6 passes this game since coming in, he has to go lead Atlanta, go down the field, depending on where this kick ends up, catches at the 5, pass to 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, Now he's at the 45-yard line for Carolina, and that's where Atlanta will send up after a tremendous return by Agnew. "30-yard kickoff return for him, which sets up Atlanta in great field position. All they need is a field goal by Zane Gonzalez in order to tie the game. Poor kickoff coverage by Carolina there. Poor kick. Just gave him at the 5. So here we go. 3 for 7, Kirk Cousins, 20 yards on the day. Minute 1 left. First down, 2 timeouts. Cousins drops back. He's going to throw. He's going to fire. He's going to find Ellis. No, he's going to find Sills coming back. Who coming into this game, he had 3 catches on the season. So now that stops the clock. We have 56 seconds left. That's a first down. Now, if you're Carolina defense, you cannot just let them have 3 points here. You can't do that. Because if worse, they can have a touchdown. They're not in field goal range yet. Only around 4 yards left. Cousins drops back to throw. He's finding Bijan Robinson. They're already in field goal range now. So now they have 47 seconds. Clock is ticking. Bijan just ran a Texas route, which leads him getting open. Here we go. Clock's still running. They still have their 2 timeouts. Cousins want something fast. He's going to want something incomplete pass, which stops the clock. 30 seconds left. Second down and 10. Zane Gonzalez warming up on the sidelines. Zane Gonzalez, the former Carolina Panther, looking to give the Falcons a tie game. If that is the case here, 30 seconds left. Here we go. Cousins in shotgun. 4 receivers. Looking, has London, gets drilled by Thornton again. And that, I think Atlanta's going to take a timeout here. Yep, they will take a timeout here. So they're obviously in field goal range. Now they're just playing for a first down. But they want to take care of the football here. So 1 timeout left for each team. Gonzalez, who I said earlier, came in last week for Atlanta, in for the released Parker Romo, who Atlanta has had major kicking struggles all year. Has already had 2 kickers this year. Now on to their third with Zane Gonzalez. He already made 1 earlier, which was a 45-yarder. This one right now, looking at like a right around the same range, 46, 45. Here's Cousins again. He's going to go for a drop back. He's going to go. Mike coverage incomplete. Mike Jackson on the coverage. It's now 4th and 4. 4th and 4, which sends out Zane Gonzalez. Cousins was looking for Drake London, which London just gives him a little stutter and go. But Jackson was right there on him, tightly covered. And that's going to send Zane Gonzalez out for a field goal. And this is the game right here. If he misses, it's game over. Panthers win. They go to 6-5. If he does make it, this game will likely go to overtime, if anything happens. Carolina does have 1 timeout left. This is the 45-yarder again. Same spot as last time, 45-yarder. This is the game. 21 seconds. 45-yarder. Gonzalez. Snap. Good. Hold. Kick is good. He barely sneaks it in. Barely. Just barely. 16 seconds remain. Carolina has 1 timeout left. Is there anything they want to do with this time? Now, if you had 2 timeouts, then you could probably work a little bit more. Just depends on how good this kickoff return is and what we're able to do after. It all depends on what the setup is looking like. What a game. Tie game at 27, 16 seconds left. Timeout for each team. So it really all just depends on where this kick will go and where we will the drive. The kick, a return will be taken at the 3. So we're going to get it at around the 28 with 11 seconds left with a timeout left in the 4th in regulation. Is Dave Canales going to do anything, try to get something, or we're just going to kneel this and go to overtime? So, yeah, they're just going to kneel it. Kneel it, they'll go to overtime. Tie game at 27-27. Carolina has a lot to play for it now. Half playoff hopes. Here are the overtime rules. Coin toss to determine the possession. Both teams have an opportunity to possess the ball. 1 10-minute period, 2 timeouts per team. All replays are initiated from the booth. So if Carolina scored a touchdown, then the other team has an opportunity to match that. If they don't, it's game. So Carolina won the coin toss. They elected to defer. They will get the ball to start the overtime period. Tie game at 27. When we come back, Atlanta will get the ball. All right. We're back. So both teams are going to get a possession regardless of what happens, unless it's a defensive score or one team just runs in with 10 minutes the whole clock. So kind of what we're looking at right here. Fitzgerald's kick goes to the back of the end zone. Atlanta's going to take the ball.
We'll have the ball first here in overtime. 10 minutes, only one 10-minute period. We've seen a handful of ties in the history of this league. Remember Green Bay and Dallas earlier this year. Kirk Cousins, 43,000 yards. Game number 167 of his career. Just trying to salvage a season for a team. He's thrown for 450 plus for three separate franchises in his career.
And Kirk Cousins been in this position before against Carolina in overtime. He's had an overtime game winner when he was with Minnesota a couple years ago. Handoff to Bijan Robinson to open up the overtime period. He's going to stutter step, gain around 4 yards to carry. Second down and 6 coming up. 23 carries, 104, 2 TDs for Bijan Robinson. Kind of settled him down in the second half, which is what you wanted to see if you're a Panthers fan. Ivreal schemed it up some stuff, got some stuff going, cleared the play action, pressure up in his face, little snap down to Bijan, and Bijan's going to use his speed to get to the outside, pick up a first down. Flag on the play.
We're almost too far downfield anytime you see a flag come out that quick after a screen.
Flag potentially on Atlanta for legal man downfield. Yep. So replay of second down. Ineligible man downfield.
Right here in the middle,
Newsel, the center.
Actually, fake involved. It's a longer developing screen. It's just going to hold your water if you're an offensive lineman. Typically, they've got to count. And in practice, you hear them putting the count out loud of games. They're trying to pause and wait as long as they can.
14 total penalties between these two teams. Second 11 coming up. Here's Cousins to drop back and throw. And Kyle Pitts drops the ball on what looked like a slant. Just flat out dropped it. J.C. Horn was in coverage, which leads to a third down and 11. Critical play coming up. And that was perfectly in stride. Pitts just could not haul it in. Only has 2 catches for 14 yards today. And here we go. J.C. Horn on Sills on the bottom of the screen. Here's Cousins looking to throw. He's gonna find Rondale Moore, but it's incomplete. Ball hit the ground before he could catch it. So now Carolina is gonna have a chance. Hodge is the intended target. He's gonna run a dig. But he takes an outside release, which is typically not what you want to do if you're a receiver. You typically want to go for that inside release. Helps better on the cut. But Mike Jackson was on him, so that's going to lead to a punt coming up for Atlanta. Now, Carolina is going to have a chance to come down the field, score a touchdown or a field goal. They can do that. They win the game. This punt takes a bounce, which will lead down to around close to the 30-yard line. So that's where the Panthers will take over. Young, who's had such an excellent day throwing the ball. No picks. Clean football. 30 for 44, 394 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. A career day for him. But if Carolina turns the ball over like a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown, then that means the game is over. So next score, regardless, wins. Young in the pistol formation. Here's Dowdle. Picks up a gain of 1 on the carry. Update on the Bills and Buccaneers game. Bills beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 44-32. So that leads Carolina. If they can win this game, they will only be a game back of first place in the division. And they still have to play Tampa Bay twice. So a lot of moving parts here in the NFC South division. Young looks to throw, finds Tommy Tremble. He's going to have a first down and much more. Tommy Tremble keeps going down the 40, down the 30, over down to the 20, and goes down at the 10-yard line. Tommy Tremble, after the catch, fighting off Falcon defenders. And that will more than likely seal the game for Carolina if they are able to just hit a field goal and make it. Poor tackling from Atlanta Falcon defenders. Had 3 people right there all around him. And Carolina, Young under center at the 15-yard line. Hands it off to Rico Dowdle. Better hold on to that football. And I think they're just trying to get it over to where Ryan Fitzgerald wants the ball. Tremble has always been a tough physical tight end. Loves after the catch plays. Just an angry physical run. Stiff arming defenders. Puts him in very good field position. Young, 448 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Just adding on to this historical day for him. Here's another handoff to Rico Dowdle. And he's just going to little skippy step, go down to the center of the field. 6:20 left in overtime. Don't think we'll need that. 3rd and 6 up and coming. And I'm assuming it's going to be another handoff into where he wants the ball for Ryan Fitzgerald. And here we go. Just one receiver in the formation. Trey Main, tightly bunched up. Atlanta stuff in the box. Yep. And 4th down, this is going to lead Ryan Fitzgerald, who's already had 2 game-winning field goals on the year, 1 against Dallas, 1 against Green Bay, and now potentially against Atlanta, to move the Panthers to 6-5.
Against Indianapolis, couldn't put it away. San Francisco, Miami, New England before.
Here we go.
Fitzgerald
for the win. 28-yard field goal attempt. 2 for 2 today. Good snap, good hold. Kick is good! Carolina wins the game. I think. Yep. Carolina wins it 30-27. Game-winning field goal off of Ryan Fitzgerald. But this game really was off of Bryce Young and this amazing offensively coached game plan by the Panthers. Sweep the Falcons on the year. And that will do it. Panthers, much good things happening in this game that will be talked about in the podcast tomorrow night on Between the Lines. Atlanta goes to 3-7. Carolina goes to 6-5. This is our first season sweep of Atlanta since 2013, third in franchise history. Next week, they go on the road again to face the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. And that will be it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining the live today. I will be back next week when we take on the 49ers.